Coach's Corner is presented by Roanoke Valley Harley-Davidson. Stop by their store on Peters Creek Road for new and used motorcycles, service and repair, along with Harley-Davidson clothing and collectibles. Hello and welcome in to another episode of Coach's Corner. I'm Mitch Stewart, and this morning I'm joined by our Dawgs head coach Dan Bremner. Dan, thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Mitch.
Let's take a look back at this first weekend of the regular season. You guys get that home-and-home series with the Fayetteville Marksmen. Friday night, you guys come up short just a little bit in that comeback attempt, a 3-2 loss in overtime to Fayetteville. Saturday's game, a little bit more like a pickup style of game, a lot of offense, a lot of goals, a 9-6 loss in that one. What were just some of your takeaways overall from the weekend? You guys only get the 1 point out of 4, but probably learning a lot about your team and your group moving forward, right?
We're saying the right things right now, but honestly, on night one, I don't think we realized or were ready to do what it takes to win a game. We made a point shifting from Friday to Saturday to talk about the offensive side and give credit where it's due. Kenny on the other side looked unbelievable through about 15 minutes on Friday. We were not nearly good enough to be in front of the net. Every goalie in the league that we play is going to be very good this year. And if we're an outside team, perimeter team, we're not going to score too much. We have to get to those gritty areas, and we have to make sure that we're getting between their defenseman and the goalie. A lot of times over Friday, we were boxed out early, and we were content with being boxed out, just not good enough. The guys took the message really well, went into it on Saturday, and we were all over them early and often. We had forward Mac Jansen driving the net, ending up in the crease on a bunch of guys kind of falling down. That's kind of the mess we want to make out front. Obviously, we have to stay on the right side of the rules on the calls there, but we have to make a point to get to that inside position, which we did, and it showed in the way we scored on Saturday. That being said, they took the message there and kind of lapsed on the back end. Our back checking, our back tracking, our D-zone coverage was some of the worst I've ever seen. We started with T-Roy there in net, and really, 3 of the 4 early ones, nowhere's near his fault. I mean, there's not much any goalie could have done about those. We had guys alone walking out front. Very similar. Rhodey stood on his head a bit on Friday night too, with some breakaways and 2-on-0s. So it's something over the years that this team's prided themselves on, as far as buying into blocking shots in the defensive side first, and it is something that this team will get back to.
You mentioned Matt Jansen and his physicality and trying to get to the net. It felt like in that game on Friday night, him getting swapped up with Matt O'Day and Nick Ford, that kind of felt to change the momentum a little bit once you went down by 2. How good is it to see Matt come in and kind of get started off on the right skate, all ready to open this season with 2 goals in 2 games?
Yeah, it's great, and that's what we expect from him. And it's good to see him. He's having fun out there, and it's an easier game when you're having fun doing the gritty stuff too. And he's doing the cutbacks and the like you said, going to the net and going physical. Might have had more hits in the last 2 games than he did. He picked 2 games over the course of last year. Maybe he's being very physical. Obviously on Saturday, then we switched Matty O'Day back to the back end, and that's where I think he's the most effective. He's a good forward, absolutely. He can skate like the wind, but his north-south skating when he's a quarterback behind our net is where he can have the biggest impact for us. So switched him back over, and I think guys are falling in or settling into their positions here.
Well, the good news is when he moved Matty back, you still had a lot of good-looking kind of newcomer players that have come into the Dawgs for this season. 2 that I kind of want to focus on here. Tim Kent, obviously, with the 6 points on the weekend, that 5-point night on Saturday, actually ties a single-game franchise record for point output. And then Gustav Mueller really seemed to settle in as well once he got that first pro game under his belt. What did you think about what they brought to the table and their first weekend as professional players here for the Dawgs?
Yeah, both have had solid starts, very different players. Timmy, a little bit smaller, but finds himself, in the hard parts of the game. If you look at where his goals have come from and his points in general, like right around the net. He's got a couple where he's been right in on that crease. He's got another one where he's kind of rolling a little bit higher. He's got a great shot on him. Senses space really well out there as far as like finding that open space and guys getting on the puck. Playing with Fordo through most of the first 2 games is always a benefit, and he's definitely capitalized on that. As far as Mueller, he's done a heck of a job too. Obviously, getting that goal on Saturday night helps a ton, and a pretty goal at that, with the tic-tac-toe on the power play there. But he's kind of coming into his own as far as understanding like time and space and puck protection. I think he's going to be a great player. He's got a lot to grow.
Bryce Martin comes back to the Rail Yard Dogs. He's spent a lot of time here over the years from 2019 up through the spring really of 2023. What does he bring to the table now for this team as someone that has a lot of experience in both the SPHL and the ECHL as a defenseman?
Yeah, Marty, it's been a long time since he's been here. It was nice him on the ice the last couple of days, and today in particular, it reminded me of like what he brings, and it's an intensity and compete that is kind of an old school mentality. Him and Jeff Jones were kind of a tandem while they were both in Roanoke, and you can see that old school compete with him even on the PK today. He's really battling guys out front, and it's important so our competition is always high. We can't go through the motions in practice and then think we're going to compete on the weekend. So it's got to be all the time. With that too, his composure and everything, he's experienced now. He's coming back after a few years and different teams in the ECHL. We're looking for him to kind of anchor out our D-core and bring that physicality and energy to it.
Really good opening test for you guys this weekend before you even get to the month of November. You go out to Peoria and take on the defending champion Rivermen this weekend for a 2-game series on Friday and Saturday. It's a team that only lost one time in regulation all of last season on their home ice. What are you kind of expecting to see from them under head coach John-Guy Trudel once again this season? And how do you guys get a good result or get a couple of good results throughout this weekend against the Rivermen?
We're expecting unbelievable competition. I love playing them. I wish they were closer. I wish we played them more through the season because they play the same way. They play hard. They play discipline all the time. And Jean-Guy over there does a great job of demanding it every game, especially at home in front of their home crowd. They're raising their banner. We got to sit through that and watch it. I hope it boils our guys' blood a little bit and gives us that energy that we need. They're going to be coming out in front of a big crowd and playing with a lot of pride. So. But they're going to stay disciplined is the thing. They play hard, they play heavy, they try to get under team's skin. So for us to be successful, it's still finding our identity. Like I said, we kind of changed our focus on Saturday to make sure that we're getting to the net. Our guys bought in, did a great job with that. Now it's about the defensive side. We just can't have nights where we're giving up 9 and we're giving up those odd man rushes, those breakaways like we have been the last couple of games.
All right, Dan, well, thank you so much for your time. Good luck to you guys this weekend.
Thanks, Mitch.
That's going to do it for this episode of Coach's Corner. Roanoke on the road this weekend to take on the Peoria Rivermen before they're back here in the Star City to begin November 1st and 2nd, a 2-game series at the Doghouse against the Pensacola Ice Flyers. We thank you so much for tuning in and hope you have a great rest of your day.